The Louis Vuitton Keepall is one of the house's most iconic bags, and it currently comes in three sizes: 45, 50 and 55. Those numbers refer to the length of the bag. I personally own the 45 and the 50, and I used to own two 55 Keepalls. So in today's video we'll discuss which of these Keepall sizes I find the most practical ones for which use, and I will give you my verdict on which I find the best one. Stay tuned. Hi everyone, how are you? My name is Kalle, welcome to my channel on luxury and finances. I don't just share beautiful things with you, but I also talk about the money behind the purchases. If luxury sparks joy in your life, and if you're going to use the item, and if you can afford luxury on a financially sustainable basis, by all means go for it. However, I believe luxury should never be a financial priority. True luxury is financial freedom, not an expensive Keepall. You shouldn't just work for money, but also make your money work for you. In other words, invest and build financial security. But without further ado, let's delve into the Keepalls. My first Keepall was the 55 in the monogram. When I bought it in 2008, my SA recommended that size because it is so spacious, it can hold a lot while still being cabin size. A couple of years later, I bought another 55 in the damier graphite. I used both Keepalls a lot, and indeed capacity-wise, the 55 is convenient. If you're not a heavy packer, the bag 55 will always have some spare space, and I find it nice to have a bag that's not packed to capacity. That being said, the 55 will get uncomfortably heavy if you put too much stuff into it. I remember dragging it around the airport on some occasions after I had bought a couple of heavy bottles from the duty-free shop, wishing I had another way of carrying my stuff or that I hadn't bought those bottles. And also the 55 does look even ridiculously huge as a carry-on. It is a big bag. Despite these cons, I think the 55s in damier graphite and monogram were my most commonly used carry-ons during the 10+ year period that I owned them. So I sold the monogram several years ago as part of some decluttering project, and then finally in 2020 I also sold the damier graphite because on the one hand I felt I no longer wanted such a big carry-on, and on the other hand I felt the damier graphite no longer really appealed to me. Even though I was hesitant about the big size, I did intend to get a new Keepall 55 in the monogram Eclipse or the monogram Macassar, but I'm not so sure anymore. I think I will manage with the carry-on options I currently own. But you never know. The bottom line with a Keepall 55 is that capacity-wise it is great if you don't mind the bag potentially getting heavy and the somewhat bulky appearance of the bag. Maybe it would be more practical as a travel bag on a road trip than as hand luggage on a flight, but that depends on your preferences. I will move on from the biggest size to the smallest one, the 45. So I currently own the 45 in the damier cobalt canvas, and apparently this canvas in size 45 has been discontinued as I can no longer find it on the website. I also used to own the 45 in the brown damier ebene canvas, here fresh from the store in Marbella, Spain, and the year is 2009. Unfortunately, the 45 in the damier ebene has also been discontinued, which I really find a pity because I love the damier ebene. It is so classic, timeless and elegant compared to the weird creations LV currently releases. So if you want the 45, your options these days are the regular monogram, monogram Macassar, monogram Eclipse and the damier graphite. This 45 in damier ebene was really my workhorse everyday bag for about a decade before I sold it, because I felt it was already a bit worn, although in perfect working condition. Back in 2009 it cost about 800 euros and I sold it for 400 euros, so that proves my point of luxury not being an investment, on which I have made a couple of videos to which you will find a link in the description box below. Anyway, the 45 in damier ébène was my go-to work bag, and I would also often go to the gym straight from work with some of my gear in the bag. However, I used to have a rented locker at the gym, and I find that if I have to carry all my gym gear in a bag, the 45 is too small. But I would say that the 45 in damier ébène was amazing quality. And if you looked at the bag from afar, it looked like a new bag, even with such heavy duty, almost daily use for about a decade. To be honest, I don't know if the quality at Louis Vuitton is still the same, because in the luxury community there is a lot of talk about the declining quality of Louis Vuitton. So the Keepalls are under the luggage or travel bag category of products. That being said, I didn't use my 45 as a carry-on very much, because very often I found the capacity too limited or the bag being too overstuffed, so I preferred other options such as the 50 or 55 as hand luggage. So at the end of the day, I find the 45 is an amazing work bag or an everyday bag if you need to carry some stuff with you, and that's why I wanted to replace my old Keepall 45 with this current 45 in damier cobalt. Granted, I used it as luggage on my last trip to Barcelona in October last year, on which there is a packing video and a vlog video on the actual trip. But even then, I would say I would have preferred a slightly roomier carry-on piece. That said, I was content to use the Keepall 45 as a city bag in Barcelona and Catalonia. So the last Keepall is the size 50, which I own in the damier ébène canvas, and this is the old shoulder strapless version. And guess what? It has been discontinued. I truly feel that the direction LV has taken, moving away from the classics, has pushed me away from the brand to some extent. Anyway, when it comes to the sizes, I've come to realize that this size 50, at least for me, is actually the most versatile and thus the most practical one. I currently use this as my go-to work bag, for which I found it to be the perfect size for my needs. I bought this bag organizer from Amazon, which fits perfectly inside the bag and still leaves room for something else. You can put your lunch and your work shoes inside the bag, while miscellaneous bits and pieces go into the pockets and compartments of the organizer. And by the way, I bought this in 2011 and it still looks great despite intensive use. Not only is this a roomy everyday / work bag, and I don't think it looks too big as such, but I would also say this is the perfect hand luggage size. While it's not the bulky, almost oversized 55, the 50 is not either the often too small 45, which you might have to overstuff should you have some amount of things to carry. So to me, the winner of the Keepall sizes is actually the 50, because of its versatility and generous capacity without being too small in capacity, #45, or bulky in appearance, #55. The 50 functions as hand luggage, gym bag. I've also used this as such, work bag and even everyday bag. That being said, it is a pity that the selection of Keepalls in size 50 is so limited nowadays. The only classic you have is the monogram one, with which you have the patina issue with a brand new bag. To me, the other 50s are somewhat extravagant, or bags for which I would never pay such ridiculous amounts of money, given that they might look cool at present, but hardly in 10 years. There are some Keepall 50 bags in leather instead of canvas, but to me the Louis Vuitton heritage is fabulous canvas, and even though I find, for example, this leather Keepall 50 appealing, there is the issue of leather being a heavier material than canvas, because you don't want your hand luggage to be unnecessarily heavy. So that was my take on the Keepall sizes. What about you guys? Which do you find the best size? 45, 50 or 55? Please comment down below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing, because that would really help my channel. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.